Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
These are tough times, and they're getting even tougher. The clock is ticking. The countdown to collapse is well underway. What are you going to do about it? Will you just wait for it to happen, or will you be ready when it happens? The decision is yours, and yours alone. Join myself, Mickey Fulp, Robert Ian, David Morgan, Jeff Berwick, Elijah Johnson, Alan Butler, Gregory Manarino, Daniel Amaduri, Andy Hoffman, Tekoa Da Silva, Trace Mayer, one of the world's leading Bitcoin authorities, Bix Weir, Jay Taylor, and Gary Christensen at the Liberty Mastermind Symposium in Las Vegas on February 21st and 22nd, and learn how to create your plan to survive the collapse. The last Liberty Mastermind Symposium was one of the most highly rated conferences ever, and this one promises to be even better. Don't miss it. Join us and register now at libertymastermind.us. libertymastermind.us. This one is going to be out of this world, and it's going to be even better because it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Go to Liberty Mastermind US and sign up today. Is this endgame? Are the central banks trying to banish fear of the masses and keep the game going a little longer? That's what my next guest, who you're quite familiar with if you've ever looked at InTheMoneyStocks.com, Nick Santiago, seems to think. Nick, welcome back to the show.
Great to be back, Kerry. Thank you for having me.
Hey, so the psychology, the technical movements of all of the world's markets, gold and silver, seems to be pointing to the end game, doesn't it?
Well, if you just take a look at what's going on in the world, you'll see it's almost a complete opposite of last year. You have all these countries, Turkey, Argentina, South Africa, they're all rushing now to raise interest rates. Central banks were trying to fight over each other to lower interest rates to try to boost their exports in the country. Now they're all raising interest rates. So when the currency market goes haywire, that's the writing on the wall as far as I'm concerned.
But the Dow really hasn't taken that bad a hit, has it? It was at 16,500. Now it's only at 15,700. So everything's fine, right? No problems.
Nothing goes down in a straight line. There'll always be bounces, and that's the beauty of being a trader. But when you go from 16,600 down to around 15,300 in basically a month, that's telling you, just a movie preview of what the real movie could be about.
Hey, and the jobs report, if you're looking at the silver lining, the jobless numbers down to 6.6. But if you look at the reality, it's far higher than that because the number of people looking for jobs really just keeps going down because there is no job market. Well,
here's going to be the big problem. You know how everyone in the administration is talking about the minimum wage being raised? What's going to happen now when McDonald's and Walmart and all of these companies, these fast food joints, all move over to kiosk machines? And what's going to happen with the job market? We printed 113,000 this month. What's going to really happen in reality when they go to these kiosk machines and they really only need, just 5 employees to run an entire store? So just think about when that happens, and that's in the making right now. That's already begun. We see it even at our airports. We go to an airport. I did a lot of flying in the month of December and January, and I barely seen a representative from the airline outside of the TSA agent. I'm using a kiosk machine. I print my boarding pass in my living room. I mean, you don't need people. Technology has just taken over.
Hey, and when you pull up to the drive-up window in a lot of these fast food places, you place your order not with somebody in the store itself. It could be in a call center in Middle America, or it could be in a call center in Mumbai. You don't even know who the person is who's taking your order, where they're located. Doesn't matter anymore. They push a button, your order is transmitted to the burger flapper, and now they have a machine that will flip 360 burgers an hour and put them onto buns and do 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun, and you don't know if a human being did it or a robot. And what you're saying is true. Jack that minimum wage up to $10.10 an hour, and you're going to see mass implementation of robots. You see it in Home Depot. You can check yourself out on a machine that will invariably miscalculate and require human intervention. But no doubt over time they'll solve those problems too.
It really is coming, and the push for minimum wage hikes really is just going to speed this process along even quicker. So, in my opinion, if you just look at the jobs that are out there right now, the United States graduates very few engineers. That's why you see so many people coming from foreign countries. I just don't see the job growth in this country. I think technology has made things more streamlined. Just the other day, I saw that Dell Computer laid off 15,000 people. This is an ongoing theme. I don't know where people are looking for this big job explosion. In fact, everything we do is just easier, can be done more simply with technology.
Yeah, and that's a trend that's going to keep on going. And there's really nothing there that can stop it. And the more barriers the government puts in place and the harder they make it for you to, and more expensive they make it for you to hire employees, the more apt they make it for you to invest in technology and invest in capital to avoid hiring employees. And with technology, it's so much easier to outsource to foreign countries, right?
Easier than ever.
Yeah.
Yep. Easier than ever. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what you do, because employees open up a whole world of liability for you and all sorts of problems that you can avoid. So why do it?
I have to admit it. If this country, they always talk about in the United States, we need growth. We're looking to we need growth companies. We're looking for growth. We need the GDP to expand. There is nothing going on in this country for the GDP to expand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and the government just makes it harder and harder and harder for you as a small businessman or woman to expand your business, and technology makes it easier and easier for you to actually look overseas to get a virtual assistant or contract employees, whatever it takes, so that you don't have to hire locally. And that's a trend that I see nothing stopping.
No, it's not going to stop anytime soon. And what it really has done is it's going to hurt the entrepreneur. It really, and people that are looking to get ahead are actually going to be halted in their tracks if they haven't been already. I mean, you could see just the amount of people that aren't even looking for jobs anymore, right? So it's the trend is here. It's going to continue. It's almost like an endless cycle that just keeps getting worse. But all the central bank money printing creating an illusion, and we'll see where this all takes us.
Yeah, we kind of know. So you're pretty sour on the stock market, period, huh?
Well, I think there's going to be great trading opportunities this year. I'm making some money, today on some long trades, and but I was short. Now I'm long, and then I'll get short again, and I'll just keep riding these waves up and down as they take place. I mean, that's really what a trader does. We don't get too bullish or bearish, but if you're asking me about 2014, we're pretty much, this thing has pretty much ran its course. This money printing cycle has run its course, and once the tightening starts taking place in all these other central banks, as well as our own central bank, which looks like they're rushing now to get rid of this quantitative easing program regardless, there's something bigger going on in the currency world, and these currency markets really tell you the underlying problems, and the underlying problems is 5 years of money printing. It's really, it may have not only distorted our markets, but it may have somewhat destroyed them too.
Yeah, and we were talking prior to the call that I had Andrew Huzar on, who was in charge of QE1. He purchased $1.25 trillion worth of bonds, mortgage-backed securities from the banks. Interestingly enough, his program at least did not buy toxic sludge from the banks. His program strictly purchased government-backed securities, which could be toxic sludge, but at least it had a U.S. government guarantee attached to it, so it was liquid, tradable stuff. And he said it accomplished absolutely nothing except that it was a backdoor bailout of Wall Street. So really, it did nothing for Main Street. It really hurt Main Street.
It was look at what it's done. It was a bailout to pad these big banks. The large banks probably still are holding, $500 to $700 trillion worth of these derivative products that are worthless. So, just think about it. That's the reason for giving these banks free money for so long, because they're trying to, pad them for when the day of reckoning comes. And we'll see who the last man standing is when it's all said and done. But this is not a pretty picture going forward, especially if these central bankers have to start raising rates right now.
And it looks like that day of reckoning is just over the hill, doesn't it?
It looks like it's already begun.
Yeah. And it's beginning overseas, but no doubt it'll wind up here at some point. And that's really the scary part, I think, because it looks like it'll come overseas, but it'll wind up here. And few of you out there are prepared for it. That's what the scary part is. Have you prepared for the ultimate day of reckoning? And if you were going to be prepared for it, Nick, how would you be prepared?
Well, you have to have some precious metals. I mean, that's the bottom line. Whether they go up, down, or all around, you should have possession of something. Because God forbid something serious takes place, people aren't going to want the paper anymore. They're going to say, "Hey, give me a Rolex watch. Give me, give me something of value here to do a job for you or to do something." So, I would tell people to have some silver coins, have some gold coins, have some bullion. You could cut that stuff real easy. Prepare now. And if you don't, God forbid, you don't need, we pray that we don't ever need it, and you could pass it off to your children. It'll always have value. It has had it for 5,000 years, and I think it's going to have value for 5,000 more years.
Yep. Always pays to carry insurance, and look at it as a whole life insurance, That's
the only real whole life insurance that we have.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. It's whole life insurance that comes in a variety of different sizes and shapes, and it's affordable at this point. How much longer it's going to be affordable, anybody's guess. But for right now, you can afford it. I've said it many times. I don't really care about the day-to-day gyrations of the market. It's irrelevant. It's what it's going to be in another 6 months, in another 2 years, another 5 years down the road. That's what you need to be thinking about, right?
So even if the price of it goes down versus the dollar, who cares? The problem is the dollar may be useless. So if that happens, God forbid that does happen, I believe the dollar will be the last currency standing, because Japan is going to really be, the Japanese yen is going to be the currency that sets this thing off. When the Japan stock market starts to crash, that's your warning sign of things to come. Ultimately, Japan is going to have to default on their bonds. Their government bonds are going to be worthless. Their debt load is just too much. I believe it's somewhere above $70 trillion. I just don't know or see how the world is going to manage this. I just don't get it. It's going to be, regardless, it's going to be nasty, and you're going to want to have some precious metals. Yeah,
there's really no substitute for the real money. And
that's it.
It just isn't.
Gold and silver were around in biblical days, and they're going to be around for the foreseeable future. I don't, I'm not a person that tells people, hey, you got to own gold and silver because I think it looks pretty. I'm telling you got to own it because I think that's what you're going to need to feed your family.
And it does look pretty, let's face it, but that's the least of it. That's the least of it.
The one thing is you can't print it.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference, and that's why you see things like Bitcoin making a run here, because people say, hey, they're not printing any more of this, and we'd rather use this. We have faith in it. And that's what central bankers right now are trying to do. They're trying to keep the marketplace from losing faith in the system. And once that happens, the dominoes fall very, very quickly.
Yeah, and the dominoes are starting to fall. And, the thing is about the U.S., and somebody explained this to me a while ago. I had forgotten about it, Nick. But a dollar that was printed in 1789, however it might have been printed, or 1791, obviously has collectible value at this point because it was a warehouse receipt for silver or gold held on deposit back then. But you could still go into a store and spend it now, right? You could do that. And that's the only currency in the world that you could do that with. There is no other currency. And that is part of the perceived stability of the U.S. dollar, the fact that you can do that. And that's why the dollar is still around today, because by all rights, it should be gone, because the past 40 years of profligacy should have ensured that it be gone by now.
Right. Well, once Nixon took us completely off of the gold standard, and it's a whole different ballgame. But if you even look at a dollar, it says the note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. But it really is a Federal Reserve note.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that is.
It's called the U.S. dollar, but it's a Federal Reserve note. So, I mean, that's the bottom line. These central bankers, I mean, they've had their day in the sun. We're into a 100-year anniversary that the Federal Reserve has now been around. And generally in my lifetime, studying cycles as much as I have, 100 years usually mean big changes are along the way.
Yeah.
From the first modern-day steamboat to the airplane was exactly 100 years. There's a term out there called the 100-year flood. So we'll see where we just hit the 100-year anniversary. We have the first woman as a Fed chairman ever, Janet Yellen, and we have this first ever money printing experiment that's going on. And I don't recall the Federal Reserve ever doing something to this extent. And we'll see how this plays out. The funny thing was, I was reading a quote from Paul Volcker not too long ago, and I really found it pretty fascinating that he was saying, if banks are allowed to speculate on the back of the taxpayer, there's real big problems on the horizon, and he don't know if he'll live to see it, but he'll come back to haunt us. So I thought that was pretty entertaining. But the guy is telling you the truth, and I think his conscience has really gotten to him, and that's why he is telling you that.
Yeah, and look, they forced him out. He was the only Fed chairman since the beginning, ostensibly, who really was independent and who really did do something substantial when he really fought inflation under Carter and then Reagan. And you need to listen to that guy. I mean,
If I could say that quote for you, it was, if banking institutions are protected by the taxpayer and they are given free rein to speculate, I may not live long enough to see the crisis, but my soul is going to come back and haunt you.
Sounds like something Jefferson would have said,
And that's the funniest thing, right? Because Jefferson said that banking establishments are more dangerous than standing armies.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we never had a standing army until we had a Federal Reserve and the income tax. Because going back in history, and not to bore everyone, but look, the reason the U.S. didn't enter into World War I until 1917, till all the fun, in quotes, was almost over, was because we had no standing army, a very small army. At that time, they had to be outfitted and trained, and by then, all the shooting was just about over. So there's a lesson in history there that you need to be aware of, but it's too late now. So
and now the United States has army bases everywhere.
Yeah, 118 countries or something like that.
Yeah,
800
everywhere.
Bases. It's forget it. It's a little too late now. But It's not too late for you to do something about it. So, Nick, your site, where we find you?
Yeah, you come on over to InTheMoneyStocks.com. Have a ton of free content up there every day explaining all of this. We talk about the action that's going on in the dollar-yen. I've been reporting on it for over a year. CNBC is just starting to catch up to it now. So come on over to the website, look at our Rant Rate blog. Also, try our services, and you'll see what we're all about.
Hey, and, of course, there'll be a link on FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com in the show notes. Don't forget Liberty Mastermind Symposium. Just go to libertymastermind.us or just click the link on FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. Don't forget also sign up for the newsletter. Got some great articles coming out shortly. And Nick, we'll talk to you shortly. Also, when it really starts hitting the fan, which can't be much longer, probably once the spring thaw sets in, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's very possible. Very, very possible.
All right, Nick, you be well. Talk to you soon.
You too, Kerry. Thanks, buddy.
Hi, it's Kerry Lutz. I recently decided to move my retirement account into physical precious metals to hedge against the coming times. If you want to move an existing retirement account into physical precious metals that you can hold in your hand, tax-free, there's no company that can do it more quickly and efficiently than Regal Assets. It took them just 24 hours to open my new IRA account, and all I had to do was fill out one simple form. The best part is that Regal Assets does all the work for you. They cover the setup and administrative costs for 2013. If you're interested in making the same move I did, call 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620. That's 855-678-6620, or visit them at regalassets.com. You'll be glad you did, and tell them Kerry sent you.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.